Welcome back to New World Adventurers. Today we're diving into one of the most versatile builds you can run in the game, the Mystic build. This hybrid class uses both the Life Staff and Void Gauntlet to bring powerful heals, buffs, and crowd control, all while dishing out impressive damage. Whether you're supporting your group in PvE or dominating in PvP, this build has you covered. We'll explore the abilities, attributes, weapon synergies, and strategies to turn you into a true battlefield commander. So stick around as we break down exactly how to play the Mystic to its full potential. Let's start with understanding why the Life Staff and Void Gauntlet work so well together. The Life Staff is the best weapon for keeping your team alive, while the Void Gauntlet offers a unique blend of debuffs, crowd control, and damage that complements your healing role perfectly. The core concept behind this synergy is versatility. With the Life Staff, your primary role is to provide heals. Your team's survival relies heavily on abilities like Sacred Ground, Beacon, and Orb of Protection. These not only heal over time, but also fortify your allies, reducing damage taken. Now, when you switch to the Void Gauntlet, things get interesting. The Void Gauntlet lets you go on the offensive. Abilities like Void Blade and Oblivion allow you to deal serious damage while also empowering your allies. The key is knowing when to switch between the two roles, healing when your team needs it, and dishing out damage when the opportunity arises. Let's break down your healing kit. First up, we have Sacred Ground. This is one of the strongest area of effect healing abilities in the game. Place it under your tank or group, and anyone standing inside will receive continuous healing over time. But that's not all, it also increases the effectiveness of all healing by 50% for anyone in the circle. It's huge in keeping your team alive during intense fights. Next we have Beacon. This is another great area of effect heal, but it also applies haste, meaning your allies will move faster. Speed is critical, especially when repositioning during boss fights or PvP encounters. You can throw Beacon on an enemy, which sticks the healing zone to them, making it great for healing on the move. Then there's Orb of Protection. This ability is key to any Life Staff build. Not only does it heal, but it also applies a Fortify buff, reducing the damage your team takes. Fortify can be a lifesaver in PvP, where burst damage from enemies is common. By casting Orb of Protection before engaging, you'll give your team a shield of sorts, reducing the risk of taking heavy damage early on. Switching to the Void Gauntlet, this is where you become more than just a healer. The Void Gauntlet brings both utility and damage to the table, which makes it a perfect pairing with the Life Staff. First you have Void Blade. This transforms your Void Gauntlet into a melee weapon, allowing you to deal consistent damage while healing yourself with every hit due to lifesteal. This is especially useful in group fights where you need to sustain yourself without relying on your Life Staff heals. Then there's Oblivion. This is one of the most powerful support abilities in the game. Oblivion creates a zone that not only boosts your team's damage by 15%, but also weakens enemies standing inside by reducing their defense. Imagine dropping Oblivion in the middle of a fight. Your entire team is now hitting harder while enemies are more vulnerable. This ability alone can turn the tide of a battle. Finally, there's Scream. Scream roots enemies in place, preventing them from escaping or closing the distance. It also fortifies you, adding a defensive layer to your kit. This is perfect for controlling enemy movement in PvP or locking down high priority targets in PvE. Now let's talk about attributes and gearing for the Mystic build. Your primary attribute is Focus. This increases the potency of your Life Staff's heals and the effectiveness of your Void Gauntlet. You'll want to invest heavily in Focus to ensure your heals are strong enough to keep your team alive. After Focus, put points into Constitution. Constitution increases your health, and as a healer, you'll often be the target in PvP, so staying alive is crucial. A good balance early is 300 Focus and 100 Constitution to keep you both effective in healing and sturdy enough to withstand enemy focus. Later on, when you become more comfortable with using the Void Gauntlet, you will be wanting a minimum of 200 Intelligence to boost your damage and also help a lot with your mana management. For gear, aim for Light Armor. This gives you the maximum healing output thanks to the healing bonus Light Armor provides. You can also opt for Medium Armor if you want more survivability in PvP, but it isn't recommended, sacrificing some healing output for increased defenses. Look for gear with Focus as the primary stat and Constitution as the secondary. Also prioritize perks like Blessed, Fortifying Sacred Ground, and Refreshing Move on your Life Staff, which boost healing output and cooldown reduction. While on your armor, prioritizing Enchanted Ward, Refreshing, Mending Protection, Keen Beacon, Voracious Blade. For artifacts you can run either Attuned Leather Pants, Featherweight, or Nimble Coat. In PvE content, such as dungeons and raids, your role as the Mystic build is to keep your team alive while contributing to DPS when possible. Start every fight by laying down Sacred Ground and Beacon on your tank or DPS. Keep them inside these zones to maximize healing and fortify their defenses. Do be mindful though, if you heal before the tank had taunted, you will pull aggro. so either wait for the taunt or be ready to manage having the aggro. Once your healing abilities are active, switch to the Void Gauntlet and start applying Void Blade to deal damage. Drop Oblivion to increase your team's damage output and weaken bosses. It's all about balancing between healing and dealing damage. When your team is stable, switch to Void Gauntlet and help bring down enemies faster. So how should you play the Mystic build overall? The key is adaptability. You need to constantly assess the battlefield. In larger fights, remember to keep Oblivion up as much as possible. It's one of the most powerful abilities in your kit, empowering your team and weakening enemies. And don't forget about positioning. As a healer, staying in the backline is often safest. But with the Void Gauntlet's utility, you can also jump into the fray when needed. In conclusion, the Mystic build offers versatility, power, and fun. Whether you're in PvE or PvP, this build lets you shine as both a healer and a damage dealer. Try it out, experiment with your own playstyle, as a dominate aeternum with the Life Staff and Void Gauntlet synergy. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to like and subscribe for more New World content. See you in Aeternum.